Hey there, how are you doing? I hope all is going very well. Getting my water in, stay hydrated. And I guess this is the beginning of the summer season, Memorial Day weekend. And my nephews were going to come tomorrow, which is Saturday. And we were going to cook a little something on the grill, but plans got changed. They're not coming, so I'm going to be chilling all weekend, of course, and doing work. Um, but let me know what y'all are up to, what you're doing this weekend. If you have any summer plans, just drop me a line and talk and rattle on. Let me know what you think about the story. Interject your opinions, your experiences. And again, all are welcome and thank you for stopping by. So we had left off where Marie had gone to her new friend had invited her to a cookout. And she went, and then, everything was over and she left. And she was tired, and he had said that he would follow her home, but she didn't think it was necessary. But he did follow her home anyway, and he was tired. So she was saying how she felt like she kind of didn't feel too good. So she went on to bed, and he had also gone to bed because he was tired and had gone to work or had to work. So let's pick up here where it says, I went and got in the bed. When he returned to the bedroom, he had made me some mint tea and had 2 aspirin for me to take. Then he joined me in the bed and turned on television. We talked and cuddled before he fell asleep. I slept for another 30 minutes maybe before I eased out of bed and downstairs. I watered my plants, mopped the kitchen floor, and did some dusting before settling down on the sofa with a cigarette and calling my mom and Aunt Kate. Monica and I had talked last night, so I knew she wouldn't be coming down this weekend. But she called me this morning just before noon. She said in case me and Tim needed some special time to ourselves. She was so fresh. Tim woke up a few hours later hungry. He decided maybe he should order out for lunch, so we ordered Chinese food. He'd go and pick the food up and run by his place to get some things to keep him busy through the day and night before he had to go back to work tonight. Tim returned with a large bag of food, a book to read, some papers, and some fresh underwear. The weather was already cold, but the temperature must have dropped another 8 degrees. It was cold and breezy, so we settled in pretty much for the rest of the day. Later this night, Tim left for work. Next day was Sunday. But Tim didn't come over, but we talked over the phone. We talked every day. The following Thursday, my daughter came to see me because I wasn't feeling well. I had gone to the doctor a few weeks earlier and was put on medications for sinus and upper respiratory infection. I told her to stay home, but she insisted on coming down. When Monica arrived, my mother and sister were checking in on me. Monica, Taz, and a girlfriend of theirs were talking about going out of town for the weekend, going to visit a friend of theirs before the winter weather set in. So this was the weekend of their trip. So she had bought her weekend bag for her trip to visit the girlfriend in the DC area. After she arrived and saw I was able to move around the house, even if I was getting around slow, Monica decided not to go away with my sister and their friend. She thought she should stay with me the weekend, but again, I convinced her to go to Washington to enjoy herself. Monica told me she didn't think about it. In the meantime, she went to her old room to lay down and watch television. Tim did stop by on his way to work to see how I was feeling. He bought me a huge plate of Jamaican food he had cooked. I didn't have much appetite, but I had to get some of that food in my mouth. He was a really good cook, and I had to give that to him. Tim hung around for about an hour and a half, something like that, before he left for work. Friday morning, I was feeling better. Still tired, though. Monica and I laid around the house relaxing all day. We talked about her marriage, which she wasn't 100% happy with, but was trying to make it work. She was optimistic, but, it would get better. Then Friday evening, my sister got off from work and came over to see how I was doing and see if they were going to DC. Taz said I looked better today and told me to make sure I take all the medications, drink lots of fluids, and to cancel my hair appointments for the weekend. I was ahead of her on that thought. I had already canceled my hair appointments this morning for the weekend. We all decided they should go away this weekend, so Taz went home for a while, and when she returned, she had her luggage with her and my mother. My mother assured Monica she would keep a close eye on me. I told her Tim would be here again later tonight on his way back when he got off. So anyway, my cousin Dave was coming in a little while. He'd spend the weekend with me. With all the people that would be around, she felt comfortable with the arrangements, and they left for DC late that evening. I laid on a sofa with a small sip of orange juice and watched television waiting for Tim to show up. And as usual, he kept his word. He was a man of his word, a good man. After he arrived, he went upstairs to my bed. I was feeling so tired. Oh no, he went upstairs to bed. I was feeling too tired for sex. But we cuddled and he rubbed my back, which put me to sleep. As I dozed, Tim told me he'd lock the door when he left and he'd see me tomorrow afternoon. It was a beautiful Saturday morning when I woke up, and I was feeling a bit sick again today, nauseous and weak. I opened my kitchen curtains, and before I could sit down, my mother was knocking at my door. I slowly made it to the door to let her in. We talked, and she made coffee, and as usual, she had brought her pocketbook with her to work on her checkbook and write out bills. She made me a light breakfast of scrambled egg and toast to go with the coffee, and I forced it down while we talked and she worked on her checkbook balancing. While we were still at the table, Dave came downstairs. He was playing my weekend nurse. A nigga, I mean, your nurse can't get no breakfast around here? He asked playing. My mom said, just a minute, David. Let me make you something to eat. I'm just kidding, Aunt D. I'll make me something, he replied. Now, he could burn too. And by burn, that means cook. So, Dave got to cooking while my mom finished up balancing her checkbook, and we talked and laughed as usual. My cousin was so darn funny about it without even trying. He's just a character. By the time Dave was coming to the table to eat his breakfast, Mama was packing her oversized pocketbook so she could go back home. She said she'd see us a little later as she walked out the door. Nothing special went on this day. Tim came over for a while. He was working overtime tonight, so he came during the afternoon and stayed until he had to go to work. Tim and Dave enjoyed cooking, so they both spent hours in the kitchen working on some recipe they were cooking up. The house smelled so delicious. When they finished cooking, I called my mother and father to come over for dinner. My father must have been on his way before my mother even hung up the phone. The guys hung out in the kitchen while my mother and I ate in the den. we could hear them swapping cooking lies, and I mean cooking stories and recipes, but of course they were exaggerations. So I'm going to stop right there for now. But it sounds like Marie has found a nice guy. Like I said before, sometimes you go through lemons before you get to the lemonade. So thank you for stopping in. Drop me a line. Have a great and safe weekend. Try to stay out of trouble. But if you don't stay out of trouble, just don't get caught. But really, try to stay out of trouble. Thank you. Stay hydrated. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And stay blessed.